When he was Denmark's prime minister, NATO Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen helped shepherd the Danish people into the European Union. Fast forward to September 30th, 2013, when the NATO chief told the Chicago Council on Global Affairs of his current priorities, including a first-ever U.S.-European Union free trade deal, a troop drawdown from Afghanistan, enhanced military engagement with the U.S. and other nations, and a more global outlook for NATO than ever before. Quote, "Not a global NATO as such, but a NATO with a global perspective," he said, bordering on what George Orwell called doublespeak. This is ambitious for a military alliance created in 1949 simply as a defensive body to protect Western Europe from the Soviets. NATO's next summit will be held in the UK in 2014. The last one was held in Chicago in 2012, when Iraq Veterans Against the War members protested what they see as a despotic NATO war machine. Many of the veterans outside NATO's Chicago summit shared emotional testimonials and threw their military medals in the general direction of the summit to symbolically cast NATO as a villain that has killed too many innocent people. Yet, to hear Rasmussen tell it, NATO's Afghanistan occupation was a mission of virtual liberation. Speaking of the 12 years that NATO has occupied Afghanistan, Rasmussen told the Chicago group, quote, "We're going to draw down our longest and biggest operation in Afghanistan by the end of 2014. But in 2015, as Rasmussen said, quote, "We'll establish a very different non-combat training mission in Afghanistan." The benefit to NATO of this switch to a training mode, supposedly geared toward helping Afghanistan recover, is that it will free up NATO resources for things like modernizing NATO's missile and cyber defense capabilities, including observation drones, and establishing the capability to stabilize countries in transition, like Libya. Did NATO stabilize Libya? Well, Libyans and outside observers who saw Tripoli and other regions brutally bombed by NATO might see things a bit differently. Rasmussen ironically added, quote, "The Libyan operation was a 100% success," calling it a transition from, quote, "a dictatorship to a democracy." The goals Rasmussen outlined in Chicago also included reaffirming the seemingly sacred transatlantic bond, as he put it, in which the U.S., quote, "reaffirms its engagement in European security." Rasmussen carefully added that the U.S. should insist that Europe do more cost-sharing to balance the burden of expanding the transatlantic military regime to complement the anticipated U.S.-European Union Free Trade Agreement, an agreement some believe is a goal of the obscure Bilderberg Group. Quote, "You might even call the economic partnership the economic NATO," Rasmussen curiously remarked. And with Afghanistan's elections slated for next spring, NATO is making sure outgoing Afghan President Hamid Karzai is replaced with someone democratic, according to the will of the people, as Rasmussen claimed. Then he added, "At the end of the day, speaking of the Afghan people, it's their responsibility to fight the drug trade and corruption." However, he neglected to mention evidence that Western forces actually aided Afghanistan's opium trade. Reporting for WHDT World News, I'm Mark Anderson.